In this video, we review a prior trade with a developing trader and discuss the growth they have experienced in trading this setup while at the firm. Hi, I'm Jeff Holden, Head of Recruiting at S&B Capital, a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan trading equities, options, and futures as automated and discretionary traders. In this video, we speak with a trader who has been growing with our firm about one of his top setups and how his work has helped him grow his trading and decision-making process within a trade, and then discuss some specific changes he has made to his trading strategy. Let's get to work on sharing this important trading lesson to help you grow your trading.
So I'm Brian. Been trading at S&B for about 2 years. I'm from Northern California, and I'm finishing up my senior year of college right now.
Cool. And you've been extended an offer to join the firm.
Right, yeah.
So you went through the junior internship.
Junior, senior internship, and then now I'm trading with Team Swing.
Cool. How'd you find the firm?
Through YouTube, I think, is how it started. Like, I always knew like the name S&B, and then I had a buddy that like interned before me, like Joe Freya, and so like through that way as well.
Cool. You earned kind of your junior internship through your interview process. Then you earned your senior internship through doing a lot of work, more than most people, but you did a lot of work, so you earned it. And now you've been extended an offer and kind of been working with a team. What's helped your trading when you've been working with a team?
Yeah. So I think coming into the team, we came in with one like specific edge. It was really tied to the open, really tied to like getting long and like just capitalizing on like very short-term moves. And like Swang is one of the fastest like guys I've ever worked with, if not like the fastest. And so like seeing how he's able to flip perspectives, like being able to pick his brain, and the other guys on the team are super smart as well. So like hearing their perspectives and like figuring out, okay, how else can I extract money like in this trade? How can I like fix this, clean up this, or like see this little nuance on tape? I think it just speeds up like overall growth and like kind of a diverse manner.
And you were trading on your own before you even interviewed with the firm, right?
Yeah, so my trading partner, Dylan, and I started about a year before joining S&B.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to kind of take a step back and look at one of the playbooks that you did about a year ago now, a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
We wanted to kind of do this because we're seeing, and we talked about this last week, the importance of reviewing previous really good opportunities so that you can be prepared for the next one. So we're going to go back and look through one of the opportunities that you had last year, and we'll look through it with fresh eyes and kind of see kind of how you've evolved as a trader. Maybe talk about some of those other trades that you could take within the same trade setup. So let's get to it.
Definitely. Context behind this trade is triple beat earnings. It's something that like I took at the start of my career and like still take now, obviously like a lot more refined. But the whole concept behind it is like a surprise. So company did way better than expected. And because of that, we are expecting an influx of buying at the open and looking to capitalize on that in a day trading manner. So a couple of stats we looked at in the past was like EPS, surprise, revenue, surprise, and then we'd look for any key metric that like a certain firm or a certain company or certain sector has. We looked at the earnings transcript, like guidance, and then what kind of name is it as well. So like tracking volume, float, short interest, stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you still look at all that stuff?
Yes, but in a different way.
Yeah,
like
right.
way deeper than what it was before. It was kind of like, oh, did it beat? And like, I kind of went from there.
Did it beat? No, it's good though, because now you can look back and you kind of laugh at the stats that were so important at that time.
Yeah.
But okay, that's good.
So this was the process that helped us like really get started. It was the first time we really went in depth and like gathering stats, like seeing like if we can see trends in the stats, going back at like historical like earnings, seeing like, okay, like how did they move, like how much did they move, like what's the most efficient way to execute, and then just tracking that season by season after that. Yeah, just picture the daily. Oh man.
I mean, look at the after hours move,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a pretty awesome after hours move. And so, help me understand what you're seeing now thinking about this.
Yeah.
Right?
So looking to see, like, one, it would take context from like where it was on the daily. So then we'd be talking about like what kind of participants like are in it. Are there a lot of shorts? Are they screwed? Like who's offsides? What can we expect? And then price acceptance as well. So like how well is it holding its range? Like how wide is its range? Like is it able to hold a secondary gap after that? Some other points would be like key levels, inflections in the pre-market. What can we expect off the open because of the pre-market and after hours? Yeah, I think that's what really stands out.
Yeah, and it's different than before where it was like, is this going to go higher, yes or no,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
now you have a lot more dynamic elements in your playbook that you can execute, so it's cool.
Yeah.
I remember this because it was like, wasn't this when everything that broke out to new all-time highs would run for like 3
Yeah,
days?
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That was a fun market.
It was a very fun market.
Okay.
Wish it was right now, but.
Yeah.
If you want to learn 3 more real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing now at the top right-hand corner of your screen. That will open up the free registration page in a new window, so don't worry, you won't lose this video. You can also visit tradingworkshop.com to register for this free intensive workshop. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop than from years of online education.
Yeah, so these are probably just key points that I saw back then of like where I thought I could add edge. Now it's kind of broken down into momentum and position. And so that's what we'll talk about the most of like, all right, like, do we want to be bidding into prices here and building a range like that? Or do we want to be entering like off the open? We believe like low day is going to be defended because of like XYZ.
Yeah, okay. So you've evolved this core idea remains the same, but the execution of that core idea has evolved so you can be more dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like fit like what's working right now and
Yep.
fit like the type of stock and how it's moved in the past.
Okay. And are you both executing and managing the position? Or are you kind of handing that off between the two of you? Have you found different skill sets from each of you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We trade off a joint account right now. And so how it kind of works is like there's a level of trust just because I've been trading with him for 2-3 years now. Yeah. And so it's like if he's watching one, like I know like that's set. So we'll kind of play around depending on like how difficult we think the setups are and how many setups are gonna be there. Yeah. But if there's like a lot, there's that trust factor. If we believe it's gonna be difficult, then we're both watching. One person's like deemed the executing trader, and the other person's just kind of hawking, like seeing and pointing out, giving like advice.
Okay, cool. That's good. Did you have held bid on there?
Yeah, it did.
Do you still trade with the held bid?
Not really, no.
But you're using the tape.
Yes, I'm seeing the held bid, but not in a way where it's like, oh, held bid, like.
Yeah. But you're using your tape reading skills.
Absolutely.
You're defining the opportunity as it evolves. Mm-hmm. You're just not saying held bid buy.
Buy, exactly. Yeah.
It's funny. It's fun talking with you now because I remember last year when you were doing tape work and you would say like, but it's a held bid there, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And it worked this time, but like if it doesn't work, then you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And so being dynamic with your ability to recognize what's happening is super important. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're doing that, which is good.
I think it kind of turned into like information to tell a story rather than just like one piece of information.
Yeah. Before it was like yes or no information, and now it's just a part of the narrative that's being played out. Okay, cool. I like that in this example, though, you used the similarities from a previous example.
Appreciate it.
Because that's obviously just a core idea. It's like, look at what else happened. And you're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
As the earnings season plays out, you're evolving what has been playing out and how has it been playing out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a big part was like what you talked about a year ago, like reps. We still try to get as many reps like today because like I think each season has its own like trends that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to recognize those trends early is super important.
Yeah. What trends have you seen this earnings season?
This one, a lot of day ones are working. We're seeing a lot of gaps out of range, gaps to all-time high have been working, and we've seen that a lot of day ones are trending way higher than expected before. So like last season, you were kind of seeing like 2 ATR, 1.5 ATR really be the max for like the most part, and now you're seeing them like trend all day for like 4, 5, 6. I think Slab had like 11 ATR trended. So
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, it's nuts. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, we still use like these big concepts. I think one thing we've added where we've heard, this isn't like new by any means, but like a lot of traders at the firm talk about permutations, and permutation work is such a big part of like what Dylan and I talk about every morning. We'll play through like, all right, if first move is lower, like how is it lower? How is it moving? Like then what can we expect? If we expect this and something else happens, what are we gonna do then? What's our most aggressive? And if our most aggressive is this, what's the most dangerous thing to that most aggressive? And so it's just kind of playing that.
You're doing it within the confines of one setup.
Right.
You're not doing
Right.
it across what's going to happen across these 20 different setups
No.
all the time. It's one setup that you're just going through the different reps on. Okay, cool. I like that because it's not just is this trade going to work, yes or no?
Right.
It's how is this trade potentially going to set up for us? And you're also preparing for what's the best potential situation that could evolve out of it.
Right.
Preparing for that best case situation is something that's pretty awesome because maybe it happens 1 out of 5 times, but if it happens
all
1
you
out of
need.
5 times, you can make your month.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's being prepared for it. If you're not prepared for it, you're going to be taking it off 2 ATRs up and not realizing like a 6 or 7 or 11 ATR move. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, these are tougher things to do, but it's fun to see that you've updated it. So let's keep going, and we'll kind of talk through more of the execution of it than anything else. Do you remember
Sounds
this
good.
setup like vividly?
Yeah. We still talk about this
Okay.
to this day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was like kind of the same thing. We can skip straight to
Yeah,
executions.
let's do it.
Yeah, so we talk about this one because it's a permutation where we would have gotten full size. Even to this day, we would have gotten full size right at open. And then like you're stopped out on the position, it fails to sell low day. You expect like, all right, if it stuffs right at open on that much volume, it's gonna flush out. If it doesn't flush out, then that's a change. And that's where we're gonna hit back in. And it's a really tough permutation, especially when you're like putting all your bullets right at open. And so being able to take out from that emotional state of like, I just took a massive loss to like, all right, I have to hit back in. Like this is the entry.
Because what should have happened when it's stuffed, it should have just gone lower.
Absolutely.
And it just didn't.
Right.
And so now you actually have a defined level. It's not necessarily a held bid on the tape, but it's sort of, Okay, that's good.
I think it was probably something where like 64 decremented, broke down, and then dropped out like 5-10 cents, rebid, and then took off.
And then the most important thing would be like kind of the way they rebid too, right? Because if it's like take off, like it's like it goes up 5 cents and then it's real choppy. That's like different than it like going up 20-30 cents and really actually
hitting the offer
supporting.
Looking at these executions, I actually I hit back in here, which I think is why we ended up making this playbook. But like hit in late compared to like where I believe we could hit in now. Definitely wouldn't have taken the ad up at 67. Would have gotten all my size against like 66.
Why wouldn't you take that ad?
Because you're not wrong. Like it pulls 66, you're not wrong. Like the idea isn't wrong really until either you see something really clear, like change in character or tape, which is kind of subjective, or like it breaks low a day. And when you're paying up 67, like I believe this name that was probably like ATR and a half at that point. Like really unlikely that like paying up there makes a ton of sense, because like you would have to say like, all right, 67 pulls to 64, that risk reward is still good enough somehow where like that long makes sense. And then the out half, like out paying myself, I think back then it was pretty loose. Now we have like really clear, defined reasons to sell.
Yep.
Like what does paying myself look like? What percentage? Like why? Not just because it's going higher.
And are you guys communicating that through the trade, or are you like it's
Mm-hmm.
at whatever 2 ATRs, 3 ATRs, like
Yeah.
like here's our plan, like
Yeah.
all that stuff? Okay.
And like that's like set pre-market, and then it's also like as it continues.
Reinforced.
We'll-
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
retalk
That's
about it.
great.
I guess this is where it's different as well. Me and Dylan, we did start pretty differently, where like he was a lot quicker, and then I was a lot better at like the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like meshed where we're a lot closer. But I think we both brought that to the table at the beginning, and that helped both of us find like the middle ground was like the best possible, and we both helped each other get closer to the middle.
What other trades do you see here that maybe you would take now?
That's a good question.
Or is it you would just hold your size more and be more patient?
Yeah, honestly, it would probably be like, it's tough because like I don't fully remember the context from like a year ago.
Yep.
But yeah, it wouldn't be too different. I don't think I would take the short or the fade. I probably wouldn't have taken the consolidation at 67.5 either.
Yeah.
I think that one's possible, but
It's kind of a late chase consolidation, right?
feels like it,
early,
yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So you're still working the same plan, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you've changed everything. You're just getting better
Right.
at executing the same thing now. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think all this stuff really helped us improve this and the chart booking as well.
Yeah.
Like the visualization exercise that you taught us like 2 years ago, we like still do.
I don't even remember that.
It's like where you block off like candle by candle.
Oh, yeah,
And then you
yeah,
talk
candle
about
by
like,
candle work, yeah.
And you
Okay.
talk about like, all right, like what
Yeah.
candle do you think will come next? What are you thinking? Why?
Oh, you guys still do that?
We did
Used
it.
to?
Yeah, we did it for
Okay,
a while.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I like the fact that you're getting better at doing the same thing, right? You still take the setup.
Yeah.
It's still something that is probably 60% of your P&L, maybe more.
Last month it was about 75.
75, so like 2/3. So like, you know, the fact that you're getting better at doing something you've been doing for over a year now is good, because it doesn't mean you're jumping around doing all sorts of different things. You're learning more, and it sounds like you're incorporating more from the team that you're
Absolutely.
on. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting better, but you're maintaining your core
Right.
of what you guys are good at, and you're just getting better at that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. I mean, I didn't know how this would go. I mean, it's fun to look back because I do remember that day. I actually remember the fade much better than I remember. I remember
Did
being,
you take the fade?
I remember being long it early because I remember watching the tape and it stuffed so hard, like it
Yeah,
had
off
that
the
spray
open.
up and then
Yeah.
stuffed, and then all of a sudden it was back up like 70% or something like that. And I remember paying up for some. But I remember distinctly the chase, the way it felt. If you go back to the snap chart, like the way Snap trended that day felt so different than the way Pins was trading, where Pins had that spike high, and that spike high like felt like, okay, this should really be where the move starts, and the move just never happened, right? Like it just spiked up and then started to fail, and I didn't short it there, but after it came in and then like rallied again, that was where I put a short on, and it wasn't a great short or anything, but I just remember that trade very well. You know, and I've probably reviewed it 3 or 4 times since in the last year, just kind of in passing and stuff like that, of like, remember when, you know, that's, but the big thing is remembering that stuff, that hard stuff on the open that doesn't follow through.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we see it so many times, you get a stuff on the open that follows through, all of a sudden it's all the way down, and you do have to take risk off.
Right.
But if you can recognize that, oh, that trade didn't not work, which sounds weird to say, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
That just gives you opportunity to get right back in and actually have a much better trade. So
Right.
it's fun, yeah. It's fun to go back and look at some of these trades. I mean,
Yeah, especially Pins. I think this one was such like an anomaly to like how we normally see the setup go.
Yep.
I was talking to Drew about it. Like, he's a junior intern, senior intern
Yep.
right now, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet." Like, it's such a crazy permutation where like Dylan and I still talk about like Pins, like specifically
Yeah.
for this scenario.
yeah. Yeah, and in your planning, you can remember this is what it felt like, and this
Yeah.
is what happened, and this is how we kept our cool, so we didn't just hit out at the lows, get all pissed, and get off the desk, right?
Right.
Like, so yeah, that's fun. Cool. Well, that's great. Thanks.
Awesome.
Appreciate your time today, and we'll get back to trading.
Hey, go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please take the time to add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at SMB, train and trade well.